Hello and welcome to the third in a series of conversations on experiential hospitality. My name is Fran, I'm the co-founder of Turnio, and today with my other co-founder Matija, we're going to be talking about AI. Now Matija, I really want us to be practical about today's conversation. There's so much buzz around AI in travel, and instead of going into this future that we might or might never see, let's try and stay focused on experiential hospitality, practical uses of it today in travel tech, and then finally, perhaps a short vision talk around the future and where we're heading. So tell me, how is AI changing the travel industry, specifically hospitality?
So AI is changing hospitality on two levels. One is it's changing interaction with a guest. And the second one is changing the operations of the hotel. I think on a guest level, guests are increasingly searching through AI-enabled tools, whether it's ChatGPT or other products. But they're expecting personalization level, which was previously not possible. So now clicking on 7 filters to get a recommendation for you is no longer how people, look for information. They're asking a question to AI, and AI is giving them, very relevant and rich recommendations. So I think that's happening in travel as well, and that's something that hospitality brands will need to start adopting to and start giving these types of recommendations to their guests. And on an operational level, the hospitality industry has struggled with staff shortages for a long time already. AI can just take certain tasks away. A lot of it around content production. AI can help, streamline writing, video creation, image editing. There's a lot of that, translations. But it can also automate certain tasks where previously to respond to a guest query, you would need to have people doing it. Now AI can handle 70, 80% of it and actually embed data from past conversations with that guest into that and make it an even better conversation with a guest.
Yeah. Another thing that comes to mind for me for hotels is, obviously we enable hotels to offer experiences to their guests digitally. The ordering of what experience should come first or last on a website could be because of how interested guests are in it, how many guests opened it, how many guests booked it. There's a number of factors that can influence that ordering. And again, we're using some of that to optimize the order, right? Okay, so that's on the side of hotels. What about on the side of experience providers? How can AI help experience organizers or experience providers with their work?
Yeah. One of the things that is interesting, AI is always really good at helping you write text. And I think if you think about these small experience providers, they're usually not great marketers. They're usually great at delivering amazing things to guests, to explaining the destination. They're not great at writing content. And AI can really help that. They can, in a way, enhance them without having a big marketing team to actually tell their story better in a digital way. So we see a lot of benefit from local providers of experiences using AI to help them refine their writing. The other thing that is, I think, really exciting is video, because producing high quality video it's not expensive. You can use your phone, but mixing it together, making it engaging is really, really complicated. You can actually today use AI to even transform images into videos or to combine, existing videos into more engaging, slightly longer form video, and use that to actually to sell your experience, to promote your experience. So again, something that maybe historically they would have to hire an agency to do it. They can now actually use AI and get it done very quickly.
Yeah, that's really important, because what I realize is that the two main things that influence me when I'm booking an experience is the visual content of it, ideally video, but if not video, the photos. I want to see what I'll be doing. And then the descriptions, right? Being accurate, being concise, being clear, preferably being in my language, for some markets. Those two things really impact whether or not I'll book an experience, and especially I'd say a higher ticket experience. If I'm booking a yacht for 1,000 or 2,000 euros for a day trip with my friends or with my family, knowing what I'll be doing, what that yacht looks like, managing my expectations in advance will definitely make me trust more the system that I'm booking through and actually make that decision myself and click and book.
Yeah, absolutely. The other very exciting thing I think about AI is its ability to recommend experiences, but on a much more granular way than traditional systems were able to. I think hotels used to have this mindset that a concierge can give a really personal recommendation, and then the only other option is to give everyone else the same recommendation. And now with AI, you can have kind of like the best of both worlds. You don't need people individually taking a look at every guest and giving recommendations. You can let AI make those recommendations from the base of experiences that the hotel has kind of vetted and is ready to offer. And we're seeing some great success with that, because if you as a hotel, you know the dates the guests are staying, you know in what group they're traveling. Are they traveling with kids or with their partner or with friends? You might know the previous things they booked, or you might know the room type they booked. You can really personalize the experience recommendation, really enhance their stay. And that's something that AI is amazing at, because if you try to have people do it, you can just not cope with the volume. You cannot give this personal recommendation to everyone. You're going to give it only to the highest ticket guests. But actually with AI, you can give it to every guest. And that's something that's really amazing.
But even I think with the highest ticket guests, when you do sit in front of a concierge, I always admired the concierge's ability to synthesize a lot of information, but there is a limit to it. So if there were systems that could enable concierges to know more about the guest and to get a summary of that guest quicker, more easily, especially even with things that guest perhaps did at other hotels or properties of that same brand, that would be really powerful, right? Because then you're mixing the two most beautiful elements, which is the human element and the digital or the technology element, to really enhance the guest journey.
Exactly. That's where, again, AI, I think, is really good at synthesizing a lot of information. And if you have a guest that's part of your loyalty program that might have stayed in your hotels 5 or 10 times, if you know what they've booked in terms of experiences, rather than having a person analyze that to give a recommendation, you can have AI analyze it. You can still have the person deliver the recommendation, but they don't need to sift through like previous 50 bookings and all of the reviews to understand what the guest likes. AI can do that in a split of a second. And then you can use humans for the communication, which again is something that is really powerful and something that people value. And it's probably the best use of people is to actually communicate to guests rather than to analyze data about the guests.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive into how Turnio is using AI at the moment. Can you give a few examples to our listeners of where we're using AI today?
Yeah, I mean, we use it kind of across areas where we believe we can enhance either the guest experience or the hotel's operations. So in terms of the guest experience, I think the big piece is in recommendations. So enabling hotels to feed certain data to AI, and based on that data to give very detailed recommendations to the guests on what to do. An example is if you're traveling with your partner and you're traveling, for instance, with a dog, and a lot of people travel with pets today, you can give that information to AI and let AI look through all the experiences that are on offer and identify which are dog friendly. Like that's something that previously was just not possible. And today AI can do it. And we've built systems and hotels are using it to actually give this very detailed recommendation to the exact party that is traveling, not even the party, the exact people traveling.
And that's hugely different than some of the B2C platforms, right? When you think about it online, which don't know that you're traveling with a dog, or don't know that you're traveling with 2 kids, or don't know your dates of travel before you type them in, right? So the information being pushed to the guest gently here is a lot more relevant than in the world of B2C experience distribution.
Yeah, absolutely. I think hotels have a lot of data about their guests. Whether the guests are coming for the 5th time or even for the first time, they have a lot of very relevant data, and they unfortunately haven't been using it to recommend experience historically. But with systems we've built, with products we've built, they can actually do that now, and it gives amazing results.
Okay, so one was personalization. What other uses of AI do we have at Turnio?
I think the other one where we see a lot of benefit is in terms of insights. Whether it's guest insights or insights about reviews or insights about bookings. Again, you can, of course, have people sift through a lot of data and extract those same insights. But with AI, they're given to you in a split of a second, and they can also be given to you proactively. So if a guest is walking to the reception or to the concierge can pull their profile in Turnio with AI synthesis of all of the things that the guest actually likes, And then that concierge can have a very relevant discussion with the guests on things that they could do, rather than start with asking like 10 questions and not knowing anything about it, which for the guests might even be frustrating because they're actually stayed with the hotel many times. They filled out a lot of forms and, still like people, can't give them a personal recommendation because they haven't actually used AI to synthesize the data.
Personalization, insights, love it. What else? Are there any operational elements that make it easier for hotels to manage experiences?
Yeah, I think it sometimes doesn't sound glorious, but you can actually use AI to take out a lot of like simple tasks, right? It can be improving writing. It can be giving a recommendation for better images. It can be translations. All of these things, they don't they're not a big revelation, but you add them all up and they actually matter a lot and they save a lot of time. And we see a lot of hotels, they are afraid of investing in experiences because they think they don't have staff capacity to actually manage it. But that is really different in the world of AI because you can actually let AI manage a lot of kind of like the boring, but laborious tasks. And you as a hotel can focus on your offering and you can focus on interaction with a guest rather than like typing in a bunch of content.
Yeah, I love it. You said it before, right? Some experience organizers or people delivering the experiences, they're amazing at delivering the actual experience, but they might not be amazing at producing amazing content or photos or text. And so AI is there to help them. An example I'm thinking of it was a hotelier who was telling me about these wine tastings that they wanted to offer to their guests. And they had all of the assets required to deliver an amazing wine tasting. The sommelier, the wine tasting, the wines actually, the environment they wanted to do it in. The challenge for them was, but how do I distribute it? How do I where do I get the content? I need to have a photo production, a video production. Well, actually, with a tool like Turnio, you don't, right? You can create and digitize your experience, offer it to the guests, and then what you can focus on is delivering that amazing experience to the guest.
Exactly.
All right, where are we going next? What do you think in the short to medium run are the uses of AI that will be most beneficial to hoteliers and experience organizers alike?
I think today the pace at which AI is evolving is really rapid. And I think it's important that people start using it today and start experimenting. And then they're going to improve how they use it over time. So we see today recommendations and like personalization recommendations is one of the biggest benefits. And I think in a year's time, we're going to look at what we're doing today and think like that was not advanced at all. But if you don't start as a hotelier today, you're never going to get to the point where in a year you're going to do something amazing because you're still going to be left behind. You're always going to be left behind. So I think what is really important is with AI to start early, experiment. Some things are going to work, others not, but you will be ahead of the curve. So that's what I can't predict where it's going to go in a year. The thing that I know is that it's going to be more advanced than today. And if you're not experimenting what is today possible, you're going to be even more behind in a year.
One of my favorite memes that actually got me into traveling a lot when I was younger was this map of the world, and it said, just go. And I would say the same thing to hoteliers today. Everyone is thinking like, oh, I want to be AI enabled in the future, but it's really hard sometimes to make that first step. So you're saying, no, I'll wait for a little bit longer. And I think all they need to do is just go, just start using AI slowly. You will see a huge improvement in the future, and it'll be so much easier for you in the future to start adopting advanced AI techniques, right? Than if you did nothing today.
Yeah, true.
Cool, brilliant. Finally, what would you say? How would you assess today's adoption status, let's say, among hoteliers? Are they space for improvement, doing really well when it comes to adopting AI compared to, let's say, other players in the travel industry?
I mean, I think hotels have always been a slower adopter of technology. I think that in some spaces it's fine. Again, I think AI is moving so fast that they're being left even more behind if they don't start using it today. And so I would say, the adoption is not high. There are some experiments. I think there's opportunity to do more. But it's also important to be smart where you experiment with it. You want to experiment where the risk is a little bit lower. And you don't want to mess up some of the core processes. but also where things take a lot of effort, human effort, and you're not doing anything about it because you don't have humans, who can deliver it. Using AI can be an amazing enabler, and those are probably the right things to experiment on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that what guests will come to expect is the same level of personalization or information being pushed to them as they see in some other industries. So if I'm using my fintech app in a certain way, and I'm using my food ordering service or my transportation service like Uber or Bolt in a certain way, I'm going to be expecting that same level of digital service in other things that I use. And there's a huge danger in being left behind because guests are thinking, well, I know that it's possible for you to know who and what I am and to offer me something a bit more tailored. Why aren't you doing that, right? And that's always a danger in certain industries that are slightly slower at technology adoption.
I think a similar example with just booking rooms. Often people end up booking on booking.com because it's actually just easier to book than to book on a hotel website. And it's so crazy. But I think, hotels have actually gotten a lot better today. And, that situation doesn't happen as often. But AI is, again, changing the landscape. And there's another kind of like risk that hotels start falling behind because they're not adopting new technology. And people are just going to go to AI first services and book rooms, book experiences, and kind of like, again, there's going to be new intermediaries if hotels don't start adopting the tools and actually accelerate.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks everyone for listening. This was the third in a series of conversations around experiential hospitality. My name's Fran. I'm the co-founder of Turnio. See you all soon.